Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome to Pariprasnena Sevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilita Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Aya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavari Paschacha Desha Tarine Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Kindly repeat after me. Om Namo Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Devaya. Om Sri Surabhyai Namaha.
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 Mukam karoti vachalam pangum te yat kripatamaham bande Sri Gurum Janataranam yat maham bande Sri Gurum Janataranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So before we begin our session today, just a few brief announcements. One is in relation to the large number of members in that group. We have decided to actually migrate to Telegram, which is giving a more opportunity in terms of membership. 200,000 members as opposed to 250. We are close to 250 in our WhatsApp group, Global Varnasrama Mission. So we started the process actually yesterday. We are giving 1 month. Actually, it can happen in much less time. Already some 40 members have been transferred or added to this new facility. So we invite devotees to gradually shift over. Of course, it means that one has to be a member of this particular service, Telegram service. Very easy, simple to download. So those who have yet downloaded, you can kindly do so. And this will give actually more, help us increase with difficulties the membership. Second point has to do with what we also spoke about in the last 1 week or so, in relation to the initiative called college online. So I just want to mention briefly that we have selected 5 devotees who are going to oversee different sections, or we could say faculty, of the Varnasrama College online. And they are referred to as program leaders. So we have 5 program leaders out of approximately 30 devotees who responded, who showed interest in wanting to give classes online. So amongst this group, 5 come forward to accept some responsibility in terms of being program leader. What is a program? Program leaders will actually oversee a particular faculty. Basically, we have 5 faculties at present, and they correspond to the Vedic sciences, Charvidya, the 4 standards, beginning with the science of philosophy. So for the science of philosophy, we have our devotee Venugopal, who is presently in Vrindavan, involved in education. And then the second faculty is the science education, and that is being by Bharat Chandra Prabhu, especially in the area of curriculum development. Number 3, the science of politics or governance or rulership, and that taken up by our Yogesh Chandra Prabhu. The 4th, science of economics, which covers actually land and cows, and our devotee in Mayapur, Dayal Mukunda Prabhu, has gracefully accepted to head that up. And the 5th is village technology or tradition. So within our ISKCON Daiva Varnasrama, 2 major departments in relation to this, one being village development and the other being traditional technologies. So the devotee who will be in charge, who has accepted, Prabhu, assisted by Ananta Tirtha Prabhu and Hari Sari Prabhu. So these 5 devotees, it's something in the making. We'll be contacting devotees who have come forward, and we of course invite those who would like to give courses online to contact us so that we can interact, and we will be adjusting devotees in these different faculties. In addition to this, we are also in the process of developing a facility for women's education, which in our Vedic literatures is referred to as specific education, which is referred to and explained in our Shastra to the traditional sciences. Particularly for arts and sciences are actually there. It is mentioned how Srimati Radharani, she is expert, most expert in sciences. information that will be made available, and we hope to have more information that we can share with all the devotees in the days and in the weeks to come. Meantime, you can page at www.varnasrama college, Varnasrama in one word, .com. And we'll be activating the page for the students, those who would like to take these courses. There's a general, initial, preliminary registration and agreement form that can be filled up, that needs to be filled up actually online. And we also have form for the teachers as well. So this is in the development stage. Kindly follow this website and will be available. We will read a section from our book speaking about Varnasrama, and just a reminder also, we have mentioned yesterday, the day before, just a few days ago, how we are making this book available. We want every single in India, not only in India, around the world to have or receive a complimentary copy of this book. We feel it is of such importance that every single temple must have a copy for their library. Our own devotees to be, how Srila Prabhupada was explaining that it's not that we should have a Varnasrama college in every temple. Every temple should be a Varnasrama college. So now we go to a new section. This is chapter number 15. Very pertinent subject, as you can see by the title here. This is in a morning walk that took place in Sridham Mayapur on the 3rd of April, 1975. And the title is Food Grains or Factories? What is better? Eating grains or eating nuts and bolts? So some of the highlights in this section: Anad bhavanti bhutani, food grains or nuts and bolts. Okay. Krishna does not say take two. Third theme: self-sufficiency ends food price inflation. Major problem around the world, practically in every country. Price of food increasing, decreasing. Farmers not getting of the produce. A constant competition. And the last theme here: come live on our farm, produce your food, and chant Hare Krishna. Just a short section of this exchange. So one devotee by the name of begins by saying, sometimes the argument is put forward that in places where there is not and things like that, these problems before the problem of spiritual life. Yes. So the point being that if people are in total anxiety because they don't even have the basic bare necessities in terms of food, then very difficult for them to take the spiritual sufficiently, be strong, be healthy. Our philosophy. One, I'll ask, you have to pay this price, and you have to pay. And if you grow your own food, there is no such question. The simple economic problem, solution, this rascal cannot take. If you grow your own food, I grow my own food, then who is going to purchase? This will be reduced automatically. If you have no customer, then you have to reduce your price. But they do not understand even the simple thing that God has given us enough land to produce food grain and we must eat. They do not understand this. And still, they are scientific, philosopher, politician, just see. So like this, the importance essential feature actually of the Vedic culture in being extremely practical. Let us go to our questions. Today we are let's see here. So we have already answered up to question 55 from Nagasai Raja. This was second question. He had asked a previous question. Maharaj, this question is related to present ongoing situation of COVID-19. We are hearing now that a lot of pharmaceutical companies and their workers are trying hard to come out for medicine, trying their experiments on animals in the beginning. It may be considered good for mankind if they finally get the medicine. But are they bound by karma for the suffering the animals undergo during the trial phase? Or Krishna would give them any mercy for saving mankind? Also, the doctors who are working hard now for saving the lives of people, do they get the mercy in any form? So it's two interconnected questions. The first one being, it is a fact that many individuals in the medical profession are scientists and whatnot, working hard to find some vaccine, and in the process they are experimenting with so many different animals, which is of course not, so the question here is that we are for a higher goal of saving mankind, we are accepting to bring pain and suffering to animals, which is what is being referred to here. It may be considered good for mankind if they get such medicine, but are they bound by karma for the suffering for animals? Yes, it is mentioned in the Shastra. Any kind of even disturbance or anxiety that we cause to other living entities in whatever form of life, what to speak of inflicting all kinds of pains, because we know in different laboratories, different animals, whether they be monkeys or rats, generally they will use these types of animals for making their experiments. So there is definitely karmic reaction, and therefore this is a major moral question for someone who is to be to find one. So that is why our Vedic culture advocates a much more simplified medicine, which is Ayurveda. And Ayurveda is very intimately connected with diet and food habits. It is explained actually how there are three kinds of medicines. They are referred to as three levels actually: Daivik, Manasik, and Asuric. Daivik is the medicine connected with minerals. For example, in Ayurveda, Ayurveda means the ancient science based on Vedic literatures. Ayu, longevity, how to increase one's life or to maintain one's life by being healthy, by maintaining good health. Ayurveda. So there's a whole very deep and complete science. And within that science, there is what is called the level of treatment using different minerals. This science was known during the time of Lord Krishna. The different Ayurvedic doctors called Kaviraj during the battle of Kurukshetra, where people would be injured. So when one treats cuts or wounds, injuries with minerals, of course it's a very delicate practice, and those who actually know this science, it is said that one can recuperate what normally would take maybe 1 month, let's say for a wound to heal, will take only 1 hour. Such kind of very, we could say, practically speaking, miraculous result. This science practically is lost today. So most people who practice medicine, Ayurvedic doctors, they are not, very few are knowing the science of different minerals. So they use rather different kinds of natural herbs. Different herbs are available in certain places, especially just like here in South India. is the first science, the science of minerals, Daivik, Daivik treatment. Then the second is Manasik, more in terms of herbs. And the third science is referred to as Asuric, and therefore allows for these kind of experiments to take place, and comes out with different medicines and treatment, which very often do not go to the actual root of the problem. It's a very involved subject matter, but yes, there is karmic reaction involved. The other portion of the question was whether doctors who are working hard to save lives, do they get mercy in any form? Yes, depending in which consciousness they are performing their activities. We know that it is not simply sufficient to cure someone of some disease. This is the beauty of the, let's say, natural Vedic treatment, Ayurveda, that simultaneously one is given prescription in terms of chanting some mantras. There's some spiritual link or connection. Otherwise, if we simply cure people without giving them an opportunity to gain some spiritual knowledge or spiritual insight, then they will be cured possibly temporarily of their condition, and if they don't have spiritual knowledge, they will simply continue to engage in sinful activities. So therefore, the Vedic approach is to give assistance on these two levels. And just like we have our hospital in Mumbai, which is treating people for material diseases, but there's a whole atmosphere and background where people are also receiving spiritual benefit. So it depends in which consciousness individuals are performing these activities. They will get according to their consciousness. We go to the next question, which is from Cambodia. Actually, one of our devotees serving there in Cambodia, Guna Avatar Prabhu. And let's see here. It is mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion, and the quote is as follows: there is additional evidence in the Agastya Samhita as the regulative principles of scripture are not required by a liberated person. So the ritualistic principles indicated in the Vedic supplements are also not required for a person duly engaged in the service of Lord Ramachandra. In other words, the devotees of Lord Ramachandra or Krishna are already liberated persons and are not required to follow all the regulative principles mentioned in the ritualistic portions of the Vedic literature. So here comes the question. If I'm not wrong in this text, there are levels of devotees who actually are not required to follow Varnasrama Dharma. So please explain to us what level of devotees need Varnasrama and why. So, yes, this topic came up a number of times, in discussions with Srila Prabhupada, we know that pure devotional service does not depend on karma, does not depend on jnana. Pure devotional service is totally independent, and therefore those who are situated on the platform, they are not required to follow all the various rules and regulations that are prescribed within the system of Varna and Asrama. But because this is a very exalted position to be situated in pure devotional service, therefore Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that the system of Varna and Asrama is actually there for Vaishnavas in their conditioned state. Who is a Vaishnava in a conditioned state? A Vaishnava in a conditioned state is anyone who is not yet a pure devotee, is anyone who is still at some level or other influenced by any of the modes of material nature, including the mode of goodness, isn't it? So therefore, although pure devotional service is independent, since it is, as described and explained by Srila Rupa Goswami in the Nectar Devotion, one of the characteristics of pure devotional service is that it is rarely achieved. I mean, this should not discourage us, knowing that it is rarely achieved. It is achievable, but to come on that platform, it is something that is very rare. So therefore, as Srila Prabhupada would explain, and this was one of the arguments presented by Srila Prabhupada, one devotee was explaining, but I thought we are all practicing devotional service. The movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us to chant the holy name, to engage in the science of Bhakti, devotional service, and in this way, by becoming Vaishnavas, we don't need to bother about Varnasrama. Srila Prabhupada's reply to this, which is the same that we explained a few minutes ago, it is not so easy to be Vaishnava. Personalities like Srila Haridas Thakur are extremely rare. Practically speaking, one cannot find someone like Haridas Thakur. A very interesting point Srila Prabhupada also mentioned, which when I first heard it, I thought, wow, this may be a bit shocking for those who might hear it the first time. But in the context of the same point that is being considered here, Srila Prabhupada explained that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had no interest whatsoever with the material world. And therefore, as we know, by reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the last, actually, he was completely in Jagannath Puri for the last 18 years of his life, and it is described that for the last 12 years of those 18 years, he was totally in seclusion, totally absorbed in intense bhava, or intense emotion, loving emotions in connection with the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. So Prabhupada in that context explained, we will not imitate Lord Chaitanya. We will also, we will not be disconnected with this material world. Because we, like Haridas Thakur, we cannot imitate Srila Haridas Thakur. Similarly, we cannot imitate, obviously, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it means that actually we have to deal with the material energy. We have to live within society. We have to take up different responsibilities according to the natural divisions of society, according to the Varnas, according to the asramas. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada made this very important point that although we are practicing Krishna consciousness, we are endeavoring, practicing to become one day actual Vaishnavas. And therefore, Varnasrama system as given by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita is to help this major, the vast percentage of the population, the vast percentage of the devotee population as well, of the general population, of the devotee population, therefore need this system of Varna and Asrama. Because this question also comes up, is Varnasrama only for other people? It's not really so important for devotees? Prabhupada, no. Explain. It is also necessary and important for devotees. So therefore, we need to hear these explanations and instructions given by Srila Prabhupada. And again, it's not simply a matter of reading about it. Of course, that needs to be there. But it's a question of actually seeing and experiencing, observing, being part of how this whole system of Varna and Asrama is meant to be experienced or lived, which cannot truly, fully be understood or realized if we are disconnected with the land and if we are disconnected with the cows. If we're disconnected with the land, if we're disconnected with the cows, we're disconnected with Vrindavan. Because Vrindavan is the land of cows. Goloka is the land of cows. So this is very important for all of us as devotees to come to grips with. We must come to that proper understanding that we as a society, we have this most important responsibility of going in that direction as instructed and desired by Srila Prabhupada, when we properly understand that this is meant to be or is the norm for living within a social context. So the question here was, are there levels of devotees who actually are not required to follow Varnasrama Dharma? Yes, those who are pure devotees are not bound to Varnasrama Dharma as those who are still conditioned. Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee, but he taught the importance of following Varnasrama Dharma. Srila Prabhupada would explain that even Lord Chaitanya, by accepting sannyas, he also followed Varnasrama. Srila Prabhupada himself as well. And as we have mentioned on a number of occasions, Srila Prabhupada gave all of these instructions to all of us, the importance of implementing the Brahmana culture, the Kshatriya culture, the Vaishya culture, the Shudra culture. These are all cultures which are based on human qualities that need to develop, that need to be developed. So it means, in closing on this point, it means that even someone like Srila Prabhupada, who is a pure devotee, will recognize the importance of respecting Varnasrama and will instruct his followers to follow Varnasrama dharma. And it means that even some devotees may become pure devotees, they will still work within this perfect system of Varna and Asrama. And it will be on very rare occasions that one may not follow the general overall system as given in the Shastra. We will take one more question here. This is from SSKBK. The question. Please accept my humble obeisance. Is that why is the right hand given then the left hand is less known? We within the culture and give things as well, because the left hand is considered contaminated because of other uses that we make of the right hand. Of course, even the right hand, we know, for example, when we chant japa, we put our fingers using as to other reasons why the right hand is utilized. But in brief, this is the basic explanation. We are more utilized this morning by the Prime Minister of India. It has been extended till the 3rd of May, and therefore we request, as we have mentioned previously, we request attentive to the various instructions and guidelines that are being given, and also just to bring this information to devotees who are staying in our different temples here in India. In particular, I'm sure something similar is taking place in other countries as well. So naturally, the leaders of our Krishna consciousness movement are very much aware of unique situations that have been created and various inconveniences and difficulties. They are discussing different strategies, and of course the topic sustainability is coming up in different discussions. Main is to what extent we using this the full meaning of this concept of sustainability. For a devotee who is well aware of the Vedic culture in terms of how people were living and are meant to live, as we are being reminded again and again by Srila Prabhupada, needs to have this connection. Needs to have this connection with production of food, as we read a little earlier. Do we want to have food grains, or do we want so our perspective, anyone who is reading these different quotes given in the book Speaking will be able to, I would say more clearly, understand the actual meaning and the actual depth of this word, self-sufficiency and sustainability. So these are difficult times. The devotees, those who are actually given to us by our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, those who are remaining in their sadhana, those who are continuing to. How can we simply dwell on the spiritual dimension if some of the basic necessities of life are not being met? So therefore, coming to this theme, recurring theme, not simply be satisfied that we will be getting food because of outside donations. We should be striving for the real purport for their own community, being connected with the main temple in such times of difficulties are easily able to assist the devotees of that temple as well as congregational members. So therefore these two things need hand in hand. This is extremely necessary. I mean, very, very or in line with what the
Sevaya.